Two. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Caught him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
That's just a heck of a play.
Caught him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
You lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Gonna go for two here. He's going for two. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Caught him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
That's just a heck of a play.
You lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Gonna go for two here. He's going for two. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Caught him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
That's just a heck of a play.
You lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Gonna go for two here. He's going for two. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Caught him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
That's just a heck of a play.
You lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Gonna go for two here. He's going for two. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Caught him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
That's just a heck of a play.
You lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win. Gonna go for two here. He's going for two. If you don't make this, you lose. If you make it, you're in a position to win.
Caught him! One-handed catch as he goes up and gets it.
That's just a heck of a play.
Okay, welcome in. The boys are live. We are ready. This is actually a pretty big Thursday night game that we're.
It's the first time. Usually we're trying to like pump it up. We don't have to do that with this one.
Yeah, it's too bad that there's all these injuries going on, but yeah, we'll fight through it. The boy JJ Watt seems like he's gonna miss the entire season, which is kind of wild. I mean, that seems like it's the moniker for what's gonna happen at week 6 or 7 every year now. And
you talking about JJ specifically?
Yeah, and old Uncle COVID decided to visit the Green Bay Packers locker room, and now 3 of the receivers are going to miss the game tonight. So I mean, we know who's going to catch the balls, and we'll probably talk about that a little bit. But is that swaying your opinion of where this game's going? I know where Chad's heart is. He already sent me his bet today.
I readjusted my picks today.
Oh, based on what I said?
Not at all.
Is it? Oh,
No,
okay.
nothing.
I've been on a roll recently, so I thought you were saying like because I did that.
No, I more or less combined your picks with my picks.
Okay.
Just to put one really, I was a little bored at work today, as I already told you guys earlier. We won't go down that road. I might need some help. No, but I made a big bet builder, and so I definitely took some of your ideas too, the one after it, and I got a plus 1,000 coming in tonight. So,
Woo!
Yo,
a couple
Liam,
things
did you
need to
put a
happen.
Did you make a ticker for us? You didn't even tell us,
He-
you son of a bitch. Yo, that
Oh,
thing's
we're
awesome.
moving on up.
Yo, this guy is unreal. Sorry, I'm not supposed to say your name on camera. Go ahead, Chad.
Feds are watching. The feds are watching.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I got a plus 1,000 bet builder tonight, so hopefully that bad. I need a lot of throwing. That's what we're gonna say. A lot of balls through the air. I got Aaron Jones touchdown, Zach Ertz touchdown, Rodgers and Kyler plus 230,
Okay.
Devontae 70, and Adams 40. Not Adams,
say
sorry.
Devon-
You mean DeAndre?
Hopkins.
I'm assuming.
DeAndre Hopkins, yeah, DeAndre Hopkins
Okay.
70.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
you lost your Chad because Deontay.
Yeah, then I got DeAndre
Adams
Hopkins
is right.
70, and then Jamal, not Jamal Adams. What's his name? Fucking James. What the fuck? Running back in Green Bay. I'm drawing a blank. Adams.
I don't
Not
know.
Adams.
AJ Jones.
Aaron Jones. There it is. 40
Oh,
yards.
What are we talking about? Yeah, no, that sounds pretty solid. I might go ahead and sprinkle on that too. And
Well, I mean, they will be passing for sure this game. I mean,
you don't
Green
think
Bay's
they're
going
gonna
to
be
have.
passing?
I know. I think they will be passing for sure. I mean,
Yeah, okay.
Green Bay doesn't have their first three receivers, right? They don't have their offensive linemen. 3 offensive linemen are missing, so it's going to be a whole lot of hut throw. And thank God they got Aaron Rodgers because I mean, it doesn't matter who he has; he's going to be able to make anybody look like a superstar. But I do think that Arizona might have the upper hand as a result of that. Now their defense has already been good. Their secondary is already very good. So to go against 4th, 5th, 6th string receivers, I don't know how much harder that's going to be for them.
Does this thing is the game spoiled at all by not having Adams and Lazard? I don't think so either.
Nah,
I think
I
this
was
might
kind of
be
bummed
one
that
of those Amari Rogers comes out to play.
I think
I had a friend message me today. And I said,
Randall
yeah.
Cobb's going to eat. Randall Cobb is going to eat today. I think he has 3
Really, yeah.
catches the whole year. I think he doubles that today. I think he has at least 6 tonight.
Well, Amari's only
Bobby
got 3
Tunyon.
too. He's got like 3 for 19 or something like that. Like this needs to be a breakout game for him. I was a little bummed that Scantlin didn't get activated. A little surprised they didn't activate. I know they want to give an extra week to kind of rest up or heal up there, but when you're down to your top 3 receivers, like why wouldn't you take the opportunity to activate the guy, right? So
I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers. It's not like I don't think there's a big upgrade from Equinemius St. Brown and Valdez Scantling, in my opinion. They're probably the same guy. And if you think that you want to give the guy an extra 10 days because you're going to get like a little mini bye after this game, that makes a little bit of sense. Having Valdez Scanlon was not going to make it so that they win or lose this game. But I do have the feeling, and it was the same feeling I had about the Seahawks. I think that the Packers, even if they don't win, they're going to keep it close. And the Seahawks covered the spread for me on Monday. And I think that the Packers are going to cover the spread for me today. I think that they're going to lose by less than a touchdown if they lose.
Well, I do have to eat some crow with somebody on the Packers side this year that I thought was going to be pretty big for them. And it sounds like he's not playing tonight. I don't know if it's a healthy scratch or what's going on, but Jalen Smith, guy's just falling right off. He got cut from the Cowboys, gets picked up by Green Bay. I thought that was going to be a really good pickup for him, just as a change of scenery. It wasn't anything to do with, he wouldn't have to be leaned on as heavily in Green Bay because he certainly was going to get leaned on a little bit more there. But he didn't have to get leaned on heavily in Dallas and made himself, obviously played horrible enough that he got cut. And now he's not playing tonight. And it's only a couple weeks into the experiment. So maybe Jalen, after that ACL, man, he's never going to be the same. That knee is completely gone. What we saw in college, Chad, is gone.
Well, he still came in the league and wasn't all pro. You got to remember that too. He got paid. I think he didn't fit the scheme in Dallas. And I think realistically that they're just letting him. He doesn't have to play right now. They want him for the playoffs. They don't need him right now. They're going to walk through their division. It's absolute dog shit. Their
Yeah.
only competition is literally the Bears, if that's even competition anymore.
Mhm.
So let him come about at the proper speed. You don't got to give him his game check if he doesn't dress. And if you just give him practice roster pay, get him by, if he's fine with that, or if you pay him his wage, just sit there and take a couple scratches to get him up to speed properly so he doesn't get lost, get his confidence back. Nothing. If you go out there and he gets exposed, is that going to help his confidence after he just got destroyed in Dallas?
Well, I mean, that first game in Green Bay was not too hot. He had a better second game, but yeah, the first game was really brutal. And that's what I'm saying. I really do have to eat my crow there. The guy is just, his athletics was what really carried him in college in his first couple of years in the league. And I didn't think that he would have to, after the ACL, I was like, oh, he's not going to have to return back to form because of the supporting cast in Dallas. Well, Dallas felt the same way and didn't want to pay him. At least I thought he was going to be able to stick around.
He got paid.
Right.
Well, he got cut off of his $50 million contract. He's not getting it all paid to him now, right?
The guaranteed money will be to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably got the guaranteed money up front. And I mean, something tells me he's not eating ramen noodles tonight or anything like that. I mean, I would imagine that his feelings aren't hurt that he's not dressed. I'm sure it's some kind of, it's got to be a scheme thing because you don't pick up a guy and then 2 weeks later sit him. And there was actually a story that came out today about another team that picked up a player, and we're probably going to bounce around this team a little bit because they're kind of important to me. Do you believe any of this Melvin Ingram bullshit, or like what's going on with that? You think the Packers are probably a team that would be in the market? Have you guys seen it?
Yeah, you're talking
Yeah,
about
like the
how
Smith
he's
thing,
asked
but-
to get out of there. Yeah, he's not getting played or whatever. And
Well,
I get,
allegedly. I mean,
Who was the
anything
team
that
that
Adam
offered-
Schefter says, you got to take it with a grain of salt.
well, I mean, as far as like why he would be asking for the trade, it makes sense. His play did like
He
his
hasn't,
play.
but he hasn't confirmed what. So the thing that I don't get, and like maybe it's my biased opinion, but T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith were both healthy when he signed there.
Mhm.
Did he think that he was going to unseed one of them? There's no way. There's no way that he would have thought that. And
I don't think he thought he was going to get as little as he is right now. What is he snap percentage wise? I think he's getting less than 16% the last 2 weeks.
no, last game he got 23, but
Okay.
I mean, when it comes down to it, like 23% of the snaps in October probably means that you're healthy enough to do 45, 50% of the snaps in December.
Mhm.
But
I
the
think
Chiefs are
only
sniffing
reason-
around. The Cardinals and the Packers
That's
are all
what it
sniffing
was.
around. So
The Chiefs. I heard it was a team. The only reason that I think there's some truth to this is because the Steelers are such a tight-lipped organization that if something like this gets out, there's got to be some truth behind it. Schefter doesn't report on the Steelers unless it's true. He never
he
ever
said that
makes a
James
report.
Washington wanted to get traded, and James Washington didn't say that at all.
Well, I don't know.
And I mean, we'll talk about the other thing that snuck out of that organization that me and Chad murdered you for on Monday. And I'm so glad that Mike Tomlin came through with a baseball bat and hit a reporter in the face with it. Yeah, I know Chad appreciates it. Chad's not a Steelers guy. Like, he doesn't hate the Steelers, but he's a Tomlin guy, and I know that he appreciated that comment.
That was one of the best
Should we
things
just
I've heard in a long time.
talk about it because we're on it? We might as well just talk
Might
about
as
it 'cause
well.
we're on it.
I just
Yeah.
for the record, I was just the messenger on that
I know.
story.
Yeah, and so
murdered
was that
the story.
reporter. And then fucking Mike Tomlin was like, hey, guess what? Pop, it's over.
Yeah.
He
But-
came out and said he has the best
Yeah.
job in sports.
Yeah, and he also said that there isn't a booster with a blank check big enough to sign me.
Mhm.
I'll never say never, but never is what he said.
Pretty
that-
sweet. It's got to feel good to hear something like that from your head coach, eh, Shane?
Well, for sure, but I mean, like for me as a fan, like whatever, what my opinion doesn't matter. But imagine being a player in that locker room and you're thinking like, holy shit, Carson Palmer is saying that he's coming. He's got to have some kind of insider tracking, some kind of insider information, like what the hell's going on here. And then the next day, Mike Tomlin just comes out like, boom, big city thud. Take that, Carson Palmer. Turn your plane around, pal.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, how long do you think Tallman does this for? You've listened to his press conferences and see him from a decade ago to what he is now. Does he have 20 more years of this? He's a young coach, right?
Yeah, well, he came in the league at 34, 35. I mean,
Yeah. He's not even
He-
50
he-
yet, right?
not even. He could easily do this for another 10, 15 years.
Oof.
And that's if he retires early.
Yeah. but I mean, Tomlin to me is kind of like Cower, and I mean some of these other coaches. The second that they are done coaching, it's broadcasting. Like Imagine Mike Tomlin on a broadcast thing. It would be absolutely unbelievable.
I don't think the liberals in today's society can take Mike Tomlin on TV.
He's just got to
Like,
be
he
showing
would-
a lot because he speaks through his eyes so much, right?
Yeah.
I need to see Tomlin like talk to me, right? That'd be the right kind of stuff.
The guy's coached for a long time. His kids are in school right now, so you never know. Maybe he'll
Yeah.
ride off into the sunset like a decade from now, and he's one of those guys you only see on alumni night in Pittsburgh. But he seems like he has a broadcasting career if he wants it. I could never see him being an analyst on a football game, but on one of these like preview shows like CBS or NFL Network. Actually, he seems like more of a Fox guy. I could see him like taking Jimmy Johnson's spot on Fox.
Okay,
Or
I wouldn't be.
Or we get rid
upset
of
with that.
Bradshaw would be okay. Yeah, Bradshaw.
Well,
needs
I
to go
mean,
too.
let's put Roethlisberger in Bradshaw's chair, and then then we're really
they got the same.
we're
They put
really
the same
patching that thing
history.
over. Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so,
probably. Honestly, seriously.
back to like that trade thing that you were talking about, Melvin Ingram coming out of Pittsburgh. There, a good place that I see where he can end up is Arizona. We just talked about JJ Watt going down. I think after today's game, when they see how their defense plays without JJ Watt being there, I know that he's more of your inside kind of technique guy. This year, he's actually playing an awful lot on the outside. They're going to need to be able to replace that edge presence that's there. Melvin Ingram is a perfect slot fit for them. And he isn't expensive. I don't think it would take a lot. Pittsburgh, if this rumor is true, they want an NFC team to tango with them. They don't want to deal this guy into the AFC. So maybe that allows them to lower their ask a little bit more too to an NFC team versus what an AFC team would give them. What I'm really confused about though,
what do you get?
Well, but that's what. Okay, so that was where I was going to go with this. What I'm confused about is like what's he even done in his 23% snaps last week, and the week before that was sub 20%. Like what are we holding this guy ransom for out of the AFC? Like what's the big risk of this guy going to the AFC? He hasn't done anything for you guys. Do you really think he's going to do something significant for another team?
No, he's been good, man. His pressure rate is huge,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason he's not getting on is because what are you saying he's not?
No, what I'm saying is pressure rate. Last year, Jadeveon Clowney had one of the highest pressure rates all year, and you wrote him. But now you're saying pressure rate's okay to go by. If he's not getting to the quarterback, that's his job, right?
Yeah, but Ingram is chasing them off of one side, and the other two guys are cleaning up the mess.
Oh.
And you can't compare like Jadeveon Clowney, the first overall pick, and your touted free agent pickup, to a guy that was a last second training camp pickup.
No, but I can correlate what pressure. I talked about pressure all year last year when he did play. And
Yeah,
he was
but
doing great.
the Titans never actually sack anybody. The Steelers
Last year.
always sack people.
Last year, we're good this year.
Yeah, they already had one good game. It's pretty sweet. I don't know, Chad. What do you think, man? Like, what are you getting for Melvin Ingram right now? Like, what is your benefit to trade him? If he says he doesn't want to be there, fuck him. He can go sit on the goddamn bench.
Oh, you're not like you can cut him if you want. Like, there's an option too. They doesn't get anything. Like, I don't think you're gonna get more than maybe a 5 for him. A fifth round pick. Like, you gotta think like there's starters leaving right now for 3rd and 4th.
Right.
So like CJ Henderson, the corner, he's not an all pro by any means, but that guy plays every down on defense, and they got a 5th for him. You can't tell me that Ingram's worth more than that, because that kid's only been in the league for 2.5 years. There's a long future ahead of him. So as a veteran,
cheaper, and he's got a higher ceiling.
Yeah. So I feel a guy like Ingram, like, maybe a 6th round pick, maybe a 7th at this point, realistically, and if not, you just cut him if he doesn't want to be there. But that's on him. That's a choice he has to make, right?
Yeah, and I honestly, like, it's so weird because, like, it seems like every time the Steelers bring in some kind of free agent like this, there's always some kind of a problem. Like, Morgan Burnett was a problem. Who was the John Bostic was a problem. Who was the other guy that was I don't know, whatever. They were Moncrief. They bring in Moncrief. It seems like these guys that are coming in that have a little bit of status that didn't develop their status from the Steelers. They don't seem to stick, and they don't seem to work out. Like, Joe Hayden is the only one in my mind that I can think recently that was like, oh, we got him from somewhere else, and he's actually panned out.
So
stuck at
speaking of
3.
Hayden, isn't he up for a contract at the end of the year?
Next year would be his contract year, I believe.
So what
Like,
are you comfortable paying a guy like him?
What am I? I like Joe Hayden, so I'd like to keep him around, but there's no way that they're going to give that guy more than $6 million a year.
Ooh, so he's not going to get double digits when the cap blows up too?
No.
Wow.
He's 32 years old, man. He's on his 4th contract. Like, when it comes down to this, will be his 2nd contract with the Steelers, and they generally don't even do that. So he'll stay on a veteran. I wouldn't say a veteran minimum. He'll stay on a pretty low salary with maybe like a signing bonus, but I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if he's out of there in 2 years. Or in free agency, not this year, next year. Yeah.
I was just thinking about Bostic. I haven't heard that name in a little while. Maybe for a good thing?
I mean,
Good reason?
he washed out to Washington, and then he knocked out a quarterback. Which quarterback did he knock out? Do you guys remember? It was last year or the year before, maybe. And he had that cheap, dirty hit on. I don't know, Chad. Can you remember? He was playing middle linebacker for Washington.
Yeah, you're asking me if I remember something. Stop it. That's cute. That is really fucking cute, Shane.
Yeah, Chad, what did you do 2 seconds ago to your sweater?
Yeah, it's none of your business.
No, I can't remember, man. I swear to God, he took a cheap shot at one of the quarterbacks, but
Andy Dalton.
Was it Andy Dalton? Okay, there you go. Yeah,
It
was
Jay Glazer got it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Putting a bow on this Mike Tomlin thing, we're pretty confident to say that Mike Tomlin's not going to be the coach of USC. I also think that a lot of these names are thrown out there all bullshit, but the James Franklin one might pick up steam.
Yeah, the Iowa State one might be a big one too to look at.
Yeah, Matt Campbell. He's done well where he is, and we'll see. But surprising, we were talking about trade. So surprising trade. Who saw Mark Ingram getting traded back to the Saints?
No, nobody.
Not Brandon Cooks. Let me tell you that.
He was not happy.
He's heated. He's a little upset about that.
Well, he's the next one out, right?
I think he hopes so.
Which is crazy because he's been the next one out of every team he's played for the last 8 years.
Yeah, that guy might have 6 teams in 8 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, he has to be like the absolute worst fucking teammate of all time, right? That guy has never been cut before in his life. He just continues to get traded to other teams for first-round picks. How is that even possible?
Liam, can you see how many teams Brandon Cooks has played for?
And if anybody was going to start
Brandon, DIN.
Well, I could tell you the Saints, and then the Patriots.
The Rams.
The Rams.
Yeah.
And
then
there had to be somebody in between him and them in Houston. I think there's 5.
There's a lot of them. That's all I know. That guy's been everywhere, and he's just been traded. I think he had 3 teams in 1 year. Oh, only 4.
Oh. All right, well then we'll just go fuck ourselves then.
He's about to get on his 5th. We know he's about to. That's what I was going to say. If anybody was going to take bets out of Houston on who was going to get traded this year, Brandon Cooks was probably top of the list for most people. It's just history repeats itself over and over again.
Well,
now,
there's
is he
another
that
guy
bad
there
of a
that's
teammate, or is he just that good of a teammate where he's just like, I'll just go. He can fill and play anywhere. So he's always in the package.
I don't know. Did he really show up everywhere he went to?
He
didn't show up
a shitty
everywhere.
person to coach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and we're saying that with no knowledge. I mean, we don't. He could be the best
Could be a great
teammate
guy.
and the easiest guy to coach. But like, if you continue to get traded from like decent organizations, and then they're like, all right, well, how about this? You now get traded to the fucking Texans, pal.
Well, I mean, at the same time, it could be a GM's dream, right? Draft picks are incredibly valuable. We don't see first rounders get thrown around too often. If we got a player that he's been given up for a first, he's going to be able to go for a first kind of thing, right? Who has still produced too, like in some ways. Like, last year he wasn't bad. He still put up 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah, well, it's not his production on the field that's getting him traded. That's for sure. I mean, his production on the field is the reason why people are still willing to give up high draft picks for him. But at this point,
he bangs guys' wives.
All 5
All right,
foot
well,
10, 183 pounds of Brandon Cooks just going through
that's
Houston.
holy.
Well,
Chad
like what else
just
could it be?
always to the extreme. Always to the extreme. We'll circle back to Brandon Cook's Young and the Restless, but I figured maybe I'll share the boost with you guys now, and we'll share it at the end because I sent it into Pat. It should be up tonight or tomorrow. We got Eagles and Cowboys on the money line, and the Steelers and Browns over 38.5 points.
Oh,
I'm gonna say that gets us about 5-1. That should be about a plus. That should be about a plus 400, I think.
Okay. I like it. We got to take more money.
Hey, you know what? Last weekend was a good weekend for us, and we're just gonna keep the good times rolling. I already got a pretty big weekend ahead of me. We got Michigan, Michigan State, and we got Steelers, Browns. So if we're gonna put a cherry on top with a little bit of cool bet money, I'm cool with that. But while we're talking, we were talking about Brandon Cooks before we dropped the boost there. Where's he going? Like, where's a realistic spot for him to actually land here?
Who, Brandon Cooks?
Yeah.
Well, at this point, he's got to go to the NFC somewhere. He's not going to stay around in the AFC. Not going to keep him there, right? Where could he go?
Carolina.
Okay. Yeah,
Carolina.
I mean that makes sense. Carolina makes sense.
I mean, Chicago could also.
Carolina, Chicago. Miami.
Yeah,
Can be part of the Miami package if they have to.
But if you're Chicago, are you trying to trade a draft pick for a guy right now? Like you really don't know where your season's at. Brandon Cooks doesn't make you a Super Bowl contender. So, like, would you go for it? And I don't know Brandon Cook's contract situation off the top of my head, but do you go for it if it's just this year?
Hey, he's still. I say put up 1,000 yards last year, like 5 or 6 touchdowns.
No,
or
like
something
that. Yeah. But what
So, I
I'm saying
mean,
is like what he's going to get a 3rd round pick for him probably right now.
Yeah.
So are you giving up a 3rd round pick for Brandon Cooks for the rest of the year if you're Chicago?
Well, I don't know if you're Chicago. No, I wouldn't. A third, your draft picks are too valuable at this point. I think you're looking up at the division. You're not going to get out of that division anyway. So you're going to find yourself in the middling half of the draft order. So you can't be giving that up. They have too many things. The offensive line needs to be fixed there. They do need weapons. Wide receiver is certainly one of them. Allen Robinson ain't getting any younger, and there's lots of rumors about him getting traded by Tuesday too. So
I got a dark horse team, and it's in that same division, and it's not the team you're thinking, but Minnesota.
for
Could
Cooks,
you not see him? Yeah, could you not see that being a good fit for Cooks? Minnesota, he stretches the field a little bit. They're definitely missing that with Diggs, and if you have Jefferson and you have Thielen, and you can kind of get Cooks to do his thing, I think that makes your passing offense significantly better.
Well, he has 3 years left on his deal.
yeah.
Okay, so I mean,
but his only guaranteed money is done next year.
okay, so maybe you are getting a little bit of a better draft pick for him then.
And then the one place that I just thought of, and it did pop up when I was searching his name, makes a lot of sense, is, as always, people end up back in New England.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
And it popped up, and right as I saw it, I was like, yeah, that's such a New England thing to do. They'll watch you go get paid somewhere else. It doesn't pan out. And then Bill brings you home.
Well,
It'll cost Bill nothing.
I think, but when I just mentioned Allen Robinson, that's who I think is a wide receiver to look out for to end up in New England. Another big-bodied receiver that can catch a lot of balls around him would help Mac Jones tremendously, who's already having an incredible rookie season as it is. Having him and Kendrick Bourne on either side and be able to do those trick plays with Jacoby Myers that they've been doing. Is it Jacoby? I don't even know if it's Jacoby, but Myers anyway. Those trick plays that are there, and their run game has been pretty strong, and they got the 2 tight ends already. So, that'd be pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean the trade deadline is what, Tuesday, so there's probably going to be a million deals that are rumored, and probably 2 of them that'll actually go through. I mean that's generally how it works, right? The football trade deadline is nothing like any other trade deadline that you think of.
Did you guys ever take days off of high school on trade deadline day?
Not for
football?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah. Me and Rick used to hang out at Nate's place on trade deadline day, NHL and NFL.
Yeah, my mother would have beat
I
the
mean, and
shit
I-
out of me if I did that. Also, I actually played in the football games, Kalen, so I have practice.
Holy crap.
You can show up after
Swinging
school. You don't have to
from
go
the
to school.
hips. Jeez. Swinging
Mm.
from the hips. But
Hey,
yeah, I mean,
that
hockey
came from
trade
his coach,
deadline
not from me.
I mean, baseball trade deadline I kind of like too, but that's not during school year. But
And there's two.
let's
It's kind of weird how they have that. I know it's different. I know they're different,
What?
but it's neat. It's unique how they have like two deadlines there.
yeah, well, not anymore. They only have one now.
Oh, they don't have the waiver one now. Oh,
No.
okay. Is it
Yeah, they
early in
wiped-
the year or did they pick the later date?
No. It's always the 30th or 31st of July.
So the first one, yeah.
And
okay.
and then it used to be the 30th or 31st of August. Now
Yeah.
they don't do that anymore. But we got a pretty big game coming up here, and I know that we're gonna get to the Titans here in a second, but I'm gonna be super selfish again, and I'm gonna go first, and I'm gonna say, how about this Paul Bunyan trophy? I definitely forgot that I had the Paul Bunyan trophy shirt upstairs, and I hope to be wearing it on Monday during the show. But for anybody that doesn't know, because I was Chad might be the only person that's seen it. I went out and got our friends to make us a Paul Bunyan trophy T-shirt in Michigan State green with our logo on it, so it's pretty sick. So I'm sure if they win, we got enough Michigan State fans on here that might want a copy of that thing, so we'll hook that up.
So if you
But,
lose, do we get one made with Devin Bush stomping all over the logo, and you have to wear that on the show, or?
Man, you're gonna get
Might be
sucker
a piece of
punched so
shit
bad
for it.
this week.
yeah,
Wait,
why being a piece
hold
of
on.
shit for?
Didn't Michigan lose that game anyway? That Devin Bush did that, or did they
Well,
win?
Devin Bush was an asshole back then. He's not like that anymore. But here's the thing: we got Michigan coming into East Lansing. They're definitely the favorite in this thing, which, like, I'll be honest, I don't fully understand. But at the same time, I also haven't watched a lot of Michigan games. Their quarterback looks like he might be legit, but this is the latest in my recollection of these two teams meeting undefeated and having so much significance behind a game like this.
That's got to be pretty fun then, huh? And as far as
Well-
listen, you walked into this year telling me that you weren't going to be too hyped on the team. They've walked through every team they pretty much played against. I mean, they've had a couple of tough quarters, but overall, your team has been good. I've watched your team on Saturdays, man. They've been playing pretty friggin' good football. I know that the Michigan's favored here, and I think that's only because of their name, because of their coach or whatever, maybe kind of gives them their hype there. But I wouldn't be worried if I'm you, Shane. Like, as a fan, like, I'd be like, this is kind of a comfortable game for me. It's a rivalry, and you never want to count those games out, but State's looked good all friggin' year. So I think
They can run the ball, and their quarterback likes to throw it around a little bit. And did we lose Chad? Is he still there?
No, I'm right here. I'm right here.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought we lost you. Yeah, I mean, they can run the ball. Kenneth Walker III is kind of like an outlier for like a Heisman. Jalen Reed, same thing. I think that the Michigan
and
State
is it
team
Naylor?
is much better than
He
people
comes
think.
up clutch too, right? Naylor, is that his name?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
And
awesome.
they have a converted running back playing tight end, Connor Hayward. He's big boy. Peyton Thorne looks good. It pretty much depends on how the defense can keep their run game in check. And if that's the case, if the Michigan State defense holds Michigan's run game in check, then this one might be a wash. It's just going to be a cakewalk. But when I think of Michigan and Michigan State, the first thing that comes to mind is the punter dropping the ball and Michigan State walking it off. Because I was working that day and I had a couple friends in there that I was just like, bouncing around back and forth, like checking it out. That was back when I was at Krabby's, I think. And I walked away as soon as they snapped that ball, and then I get into the kitchen and all I hear is like screaming. So I'm like, well, what the fuck happened? And I come up, I'm like, you cannot be serious. The one play of Michigan State that I didn't watch live is that.
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
I just remember the picture of that kid
Yeah.
in his Michigan sweater.
You know what's weird for me
Yeah.
for Michigan? All I picture now whenever somebody brings up Michigan is an angry what's the coach there now? I can't remember his name. Or Harbaugh,
Harbaugh.
right? Yeah, I
He's a
just picture
loser.
him being angry with the pen around his neck and just yelling at a ref. I can't picture a happy Harbaugh in Michigan, ever.
He's a loser.
Yeah, I mean, if you were in Michigan, you wouldn't be happy either. The university stinks. Their uniforms stink. Their alumni stink. I mean,
Their
where
alumni
else
don't
can
even
we go
like
with
them.
this?
Whoa! What's
Yeah.
Their alumni don't even like them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I'll
Charles
take
Woodson, if he was on Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football, which he wouldn't even say that he went to Michigan. He would just give his hometown.
He give his high school, right? That's what they do when they don't
Yeah.
like their college.
Well, well, whatever. I mean, look, when it they're a 4-point underdog. I'm sure by the time the game actually opens up, they're going to be a 3-point underdog because the money will come in pretty sharp on them. I'm not worried. I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. But I think at the end of the day, Michigan State has a really good test to take down Michigan and set up a potential, like, I don't know, playoff clinching game against Ohio State Buckeye team that has to keep their eye on the prize because they are playing Penn State this week, and if they can't win that one in convincing fashion, they might end up on the outside of the playoff format.
So how does and aside from me saying that Michigan State I think is going to win this game, how does Michigan State win? What do they have to do to stop Michigan?
They need to put pressure on the quarterback. I mean that's an easy thing to say, but their pressure has been good and it's been really effective for their corners because all their entire secondary are transfers in from SEC teams.
Wow.
And one is from Alabama, the other one is from Florida, and they have a couple guys that came in and that were there in the first place, but they have some really, really talented guys. Michigan State might be the best team that no one has heard of because who have they beaten? And that's what I would say too. And when we
Rutgers.
started the
Everybody
season, I said,
Rutgers. I'm just joking. Rutgers fans get angry about not being recognized for some reason.
When we started the season, I said, like, there's no way that they're even going to be in the playoff discussion. And at this point, like, it's pretty wild that 9 weeks in, that we're even talking about it. But a 7-0 versus 7-0 at noon on Saturday, sign me up for that all day.
Yeah. And there's still stuff that can happen, right? I know that Kelly's not going to want to hear this, but what if Oklahoma loses at the tail end here and Michigan State's able to run a table here a little bit? They could make some noise and jump up some spots, right?
I'm telling you right now that if Michigan State or Michigan runs the table, that team is in the playoffs, whichever one it is.
There you go.
If an undefeated team from the Big Ten goes in or goes undefeated, Oklahoma or Cincy are getting bumped. It's that simple. There's no way they would have put a Big Ten team in.
And that means that one of those teams has not only gone through Ohio State. They beat each other, but they would have to also go through Ohio State, and they're going to have to win a Big Ten championship game, which is likely against Iowa. Is a team. I mean, we buried that team, but they're going to likely be a one-loss team in a Big Ten championship game. So those are big stats that you could put together. And the Big 12 and unfortunately Cincinnati do not have the clout. And an undefeated Big Ten team might be the worst possible scenario for Cincinnati Bearcats.
Yeah.
Because if you're the committee, you're looking at Georgia for sure.
Bama's in.
And
Let's
you're
just call
looking
a
at
spade a spade.
Yeah,
Bama's gonna be in.
well, Bama's going to have to beat Georgia in the SEC championship game, provided it all works out that way for them. And if that happens, then those two teams are definitely both in, and then you're really in a tough spot. And I think at that point, it's just thanks for coming out, Cincinnati. You can play in the Peach Bowl or something.
You get a New Year's 6, and that's where it ends.
Yeah,
Again.
yeah. And maybe that's where they need to be. And when they get into the Big 12, things will work out a little differently for them. But the other games to keep an eye on for college, and then we'll circle back because we got Kalen's Titans are underdogs, and I want to understand that in a second. But Ole Miss needs to stay hot against Auburn, and if they do, I think they're back in the discussion. and a Notre Dame team that is still, like we said, we're kind of flying under the radar. And a lot of the big games that they had scheduled really aren't working out for them. They have another one that this one should have been a massive game. And I mean, it's in prime time, but against North Carolina this week, I think that this, like, and Chad could probably attest to this, this is probably a North Carolina team that was favored to win the ACC. And at this point, they're 3-3 and they're just kind of out of it. Well, I
That's a
know.
problem.
Get that fucking smile off your face. I picked them to be in the playoff. You know I did.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I can see
That's
what I can see what that smirk is.
Well, it's,
The
when
whole
you said when they were
Go ahead.
mentioned to pick or to win the ACC, I remember who made that pick early in the year.
Yeah, that was me.
No, and I think the problem with Notre Dame is we schedule these games to give us some competition, and they have definitely not lived up to their own hype of these teams. But they're not easy games at the end of the day. I'm not saying that North Carolina is a bad football team, and their talent doesn't change when they're ranked in the top 20 before the season started. It's for a reason. And
I think they were up in like 12 or something, right, to start the season.
yeah, I think we were both in the top 15 at the beginning of the season. So at the end of the day, like, the talent's there, and the problem is for us is if we have a slip up, we're done now. Like a 2-loss team will never get in the playoffs, anyways. I don't think. But especially a 2-loss Notre Dame team, we won't even be in the top 10. We'll probably lose a New Year's 6 game. And I personally feel that college football wants that to happen. I think they want a 2-loss Notre Dame. I don't think they want them to keep being in contention because they keep putting them in there and we haven't lived up. We've been knocked out and badly the last 3 of the last 4 times we've been in. So I could see why the committee wouldn't want us there, but it's hard to not put us in when we have the credibility and the record to go in. Like the one year our only loss was to a Georgia team who was in the playoff, but then we got stomped out in the first round. And that was
Right,
and then last year we were undefeated. Then we played Alabama, and then we all know how that ended, right? So it's just one of those things, or Clemson, sorry. But yeah, no, it's one of those things where the committee doesn't want us going 1-loss Notre Dame teams. They would rather have a 2-loss Notre Dame team and put them against a 1-loss Michigan team on New Year's Day. Because that's TV ratings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of nice to like know at this point that, and like nothing against Clemson, but it's nice to know that Clemson, like we're going to be adding a couple of new matchups or potential new matchups for this playoff round because Clemson's been in there for the last, 3-4 years now. It's nice to get some new blood, and there's potential that, and I mean, it's not likely, but there is potential that there's no Clemson, no Alabama, and no Ohio State here. So that is a wild year. Like think of all the wild year that we've had leading up to this outside of football. And then for that to happen for football, like, I don't know, man, that's pretty wild.
Can you just imagine if you're an undefeated Georgia team and you in Alabama has 2 losses and you don't win the national championship?
Yeah. Yeah, straight up.
Like you run the table in the SEC, Alabama has 2 losses, and you go into then you get beat in the first round of the playoff. Like such a Kirby Smart thing to do.
Yeah, I don't see any 2-loss teams getting into the playoff. Luckily for us, because there is enough good teams right now. But we're gonna go to a good team that we were talking about, and we gave Kalen his fair props on Monday, I think, and then. I don't know, and Kalen, I'm going to ask you to stay silent for a second. I don't know if, Chad, were you as surprised as I was when this line came out and Tennessee is opening up and is still the underdog?
I don't understand.
I'm confused too. Like, it seems like everyone else knows something that we don't.
Because I've watched Tennessee the last couple of weeks, and I've seen the Colts play, and that Colts team doesn't look very good compared to a Tennessee team. I know the Colts play them tough every year. I get that. But there's no reason that they should be the favorite here. I'm not going to say we rip on Kalen all the time. We don't even let him breathe most days when it comes to the Titans. And we do it with smiling. But like the amount of disrespect that the NFL just gave you, I will let you have the floor, and I'm going to keep my mouth shut, and I will not make fun of your team because
Kalen,
this is absolute bullshit. Tell us why this is so disrespectful to your Titans, because we both don't understand.
Well, gentlemen, it certainly sounds like you guys have come over to the Titans fandom side.
All right, I'm done talking with you. We're done. I'm not a fan of yours. I gave you your chance and you blew it.
You sound like every one of us. We beat the Bills,
Yeah.
and on a short week, we beat the Chiefs. And in both games, we were the underdog against the Chiefs. We're the underdog at home. Now we've already beat the Colts one time this year. And now we're playing in Indy. I get that. So you're going to give them 3 points. I don't understand why we aren't. It's going to be a tough game. You're not going to see a lot of turnovers here. Tennessee doesn't turn it over. Indy does get turnovers, but Tennessee doesn't turn the ball over. It's going to be a whole lot of ball control. Jonathan Taylor he's in my opinion right now with Chubb and with Hunt being injured, he's number 2. Like you got him right beside, and I'm going to be biased and say Derrick Henry's obviously number 1 with all the yardage that he's been able to put up. But Jonathan Taylor in the last 4 weeks has silently become one of the NFL's strongest running backs in every aspect of the game. And I think that's why Carson Wentz has been able to have his turnover woes become a thing of the past, because he's been able to lean on the running game a little bit. And this game, they get Quentin Nelson back. They haven't had him for 4 weeks or 3 weeks. So
he played on Sunday night.
Oh, did he play? Okay, sorry. So
Yeah.
well, they had
Sparingly, but he played. Yeah.
Yeah. So having him back in full speed as well, that's going to be really, really good for them. I just don't understand it. I don't. But you guys do sound like me now. Why are we the underdogs? Why? I don't get this.
This feels like bulletin board material, right? Like Vrabel probably went in there with his cool bet account and he was like, "Can any of you motherfuckers describe to me why you're the underdog against the goddamn Colts this week? Let's go prove them wrong." I was like,
Yeah.
You know what? I'm pretty sure I'm usually not a guy to bet on the Titans, but with plus money on my side, yeah,
I'm taking that
all
game.
day. Yeah, it's all
Mhm.
day.
Yeah.
It took everything in me to keep it off of our super boost for this week, only because I didn't want that kind of pressure on you. Because if for some reason that didn't go our way,
yeah.
that's a lot of pressure and a lot of shit you're gonna take on Saturday or on Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, I mean it's just gonna be a hard fought game. I think that Derrick Henry is going to be able to run through that defense better than he did that first game that they played, which is already a good game. And I think that our defense is coming into their stride at this point. They're getting stronger week by week. We stopped playing man. I don't know. The week that we played the Bills was the first week we went to a strictly zone scheme the entire season. We were able to shut down Allen. We stayed in that zone scheme to shut down Patrick Mahomes. We had the 2 deep safeties the whole time. I think we can do that again against Wentz. I mean, T.Y. is not playing this week, I don't think, from what I read. Paris Campbell is still injured, from what I understand, too. So you're going to be leaning on Pascal or Zach Pascal. And then...
and Pittman.
Pittman. Michael Pittman, that's right. Or, is it Michael Pittman? Or is that the old guy?
Yeah, Michael Pittman Jr.
Who's humming there?
And
There we go.
I think, Mo Ali Cox has probably been their X factor this year over the last couple of weeks to get them back to where they needed to be. But I don't know, man. This seems super disrespectful to the Titans, and I would be shocked if Vrabel wasn't using this at practice. Like
100%.
absolutely shocked. And you know where I am behind the Titans in this one. I don't really understand what is happening, but somehow Vegas knows something that we don't, and we're gonna find out on Sunday what that is.
Mm-hmm. Is that your mic humming over there, Shane?
Yeah, he was playing the little horn over there.
It's not me, man.
No, I think it might. Let me do a reset here. Okay.
No, I don't know. I don't think it's me, but maybe.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's definitely you.
There's all right.
We're the dumbest show on air. Where did Galen go? And Shane, you're muted. I can't hear you at all.
I'm back.
Oh, there he is.
And my microphone.
Did your
is
voice
still
leave with
unmuted.
Kalen? Because like
Maybe.
he left and you stopped talking, and there's dead air. I was by myself. Then Kalen walked back in the room, and then your mic worked again.
Perfect.
What are you doing on your phone over there, Jay Glazer? What kind of Bluetooth magic are you playing?
Yo, he's figuring some shit out.
Kalen, we can't hear your mic.
Taylor, we can't hear you, but it must be your mic that's messed up. Let's move on to the Chargers and Pats for a second here.
Shane, you're not on your mic right now. That's what I was telling you, my man. Right now, it's on your phone mic. It's not on that mic.
I don't even have a phone mic.
Whatever you're on right now. It's catching the
Anyway,
mic
you
from
guys talk about the Chargers and the Pats, and I'll
Chargers and
figure out
Pats.
my microphone situation.
Dude, I can hear you fine.
So Chargers Pats. So we got Mac Jones, Justin Herbert, right? Two good defenses here to go against each other. Is this going to be an air attack? That's what they're probably going to have to do against each other, right? That's what they're built to stop the run, both teams, right?
Well, I think the Patriots are going to lean on Damian Harris.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the best way they're going to win this game. I don't think they can play shot for shot with the Chargers. And I just think the Chargers offense has too many weapons. Bill Belichick, is a great defensive coach, but I just think that there's too many weapons there. And I don't think New England can play that kind of game. I think they're going to run heavily on Damian Harris and play that nickel and dime football that the Patriots need to do if they're going to stay in this game. If they expect Mac Jones to go out there and throw the lights out, it's going to be a long, long day for them.
You know what I thought was really special after the Jets game there, and Belichick's done it a couple of times, but obviously a huge win. I mean, they destroyed him. He went to every single player and coach and shook their hand near the end of that game, inside the 2-minute warning there. But what a game to go against the Chargers the following week, because I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of shaking hands. It's not going to be a 40-point blowout this week.
No, unless it's going against him.
I think the interesting part's going to be is, we have a rookie head coach that is with the Chargers, and they just faced their first bit of adversity in Baltimore there. So what does a team like that come out with? I mean, how do they respond coming out of a bad loss and a bye week? Can they get it figured? Like, this is a defensive coach. I mean, it's not like I'm saying that that's somehow a negative on him, but does this guy have what it takes to rally from a loss like that? On a bye week, I mean, was he able to control the boys?
I think the kid's got all the moxie over there in LA. I love Justin Herbert, man. I think he can do enough to win that game. He really, really can. Now, Bill's been really good against young quarterbacks, especially rookies, and Herbert's not a rookie by any means. But the tape is out there on him at this point too. So Bill's gonna be able to make those adjustments. But Herbert's just a different beast, man. He's just a fun kid to watch. He's what Mahomes was to that division 2 years ago.
Right. Well, that one, I think I'm pretty safe to say that the Chargers are going to win that, but I'm just curious to see how they respond to something like that. And you just never know with Belichick, right? Like, you always have that in the back of your mind that this guy's going to scheme something up.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's the West. It's the East team that's got to go west there, and they never really do well doing that anyway. I don't care if you're a Belichick team or not. East goes west, time zones change, and you're jet lagged. That's just not as good.
I just want to know what Belichick's plan is going to be, because he always schemes to stop whoever the most important weapon is on that team. So does he scheme to stop Eckler and that game, or does he scheme to stop Keenan Allen? Because if he does, well, then there's still Mike Williams.
Yeah.
And then there's still Eckler. And so I want to know which route he's going to go, and I think that's kind of the fun part on mine. And to touch on what Shane was saying about how you bounce back and how important that is. Like, I know for my team 2 years ago, we got absolutely fucking slapped in the last game of the season going into the playoffs. And our head coach at the time literally took it upon himself and made sure the guys knew that it was never going to happen again, and how it is okay to lose a game once, but you got to how you respond and how you bounce back. And it's going to be a real test to see if this new rookie coach in San Diego can get his guys respond, especially with a young quarterback.
I'm pretty sure that he's living in LA.
Same thing. California's California.
Yeah, I don't think we've had a single show where Chad didn't either say Redskins or San Diego.
Hey, it's the football team. I can't believe you called them that.
I can say whatever I want. It doesn't matter. All right, couple other big games.
And Eckler just hit the injury report. I know it's only Thursday here, but Thursday's a pretty big day when you hit the injury report. He's questionable now to play, so that could be a significant loss.
The guy's hamstrings are this big, man. Like,
I know. What an animal.
He's always going to be questionable. He's always going to have a soft tissue injury. Steelers Browns. Obviously, I'm going to stay pretty quiet on this because I don't want to get super biased. I do think it's a pretty significant game for the AFC picture, but I'll allow you guys to do it, and I will recuse myself, even though I think that the Steelers are going to fucking murder Baker Mayfield in the run game.
Is Baker playing?
Unbiased. For his sake, I hope not, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I think it's Keenum's blame for that one. I know, Chad, you don't pay attention to a whole lot of AFC teams. I know the Steelers are a team that you pay attention to just through Shane. Do you have any input you want to throw into this one?
So you're gonna be surprised. I actually don't watch football at all, guys. I don't know if you're aware of this. NFC, AFC. I really just make things up every time I come on here. I don't watch any football at all. No, honestly, I think the biggest thing is that how is Pittsburgh going to stop the run game? Whether it's Baker Mayfield, Case Keenum, whoever's playing. I don't even know if Baker's playing yet. I haven't even looked. I actually liked the way that Case Keenum came out last week and played. And it kind of opened up different things because him and Baker do completely different things, right?
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, they're going to both lean. They both have to lean on that run game, and I think that's going to dictate how this game goes. And I think
Was
no
that a
matter
jock
who
strap you just
Cleveland-
cracked by chance?
Absolutely. Hey, I've been
if
enjoying
we're
a
cracking
delicious beer
jock
listening
straps, that's
to,
what we're saying.
listening to Chad's wonderful insights on how the Steelers are going to beat the Browns.
I think the only way the Browns can win this game is by running the football. And if they cannot do that, I don't think they can win. And as far as Pittsburgh goes, it's just they got to stop the run. It's that simple. Like it's a pretty easy formula for both teams. I think whoever wins that battle is who wins that game.
Well,
Yeah, I agree. I expect big things from Ben Roethlisberger too. Only because, and I'm going to let you just hold on a sec, Kalen. This is potentially his second last game in Ohio of his career.
mhm.
So he's an Ohio guy. He's owned both the Bengals and the Browns in their own home stadiums. For the longest time, Ben Roethlisberger was the most winningest quarterback in First Energy Stadium history until last year when Baker Mayfield got it. Like, think of how sickening that is for how long the Browns have played there. And Roethlisberger had the most wins for a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Not
So-
an opposing quarterback, like a quarterback in general. So I think that he's going to make a statement. But go ahead, go Steelers.
I think the Steelers are going to win too. I do not think it is going to be through Ben Roethlisberger. I think Ben will do just enough to keep the game going, and this game is going to be won through players like T.J. Watt and Highsmith. That's who we talked. Chad said pressure. I didn't think that's exactly what it is. It's going to be a turnover that gets a score, or a turnover that has an incredibly short field is what ends up winning the game. I just don't think that it's going to be Ben hot dotting out there that is going to be what wins this game, unfortunately. He's
I
going to have
don't
a
think
couple
Ben
good
can
moon
hot
shots.
dot anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think he has
I
an arm to
think he'll
throw
throw a couple
moonshots or
moonshots.
hot dots.
Yeah, a few moonshots maybe. Yeah.
No, he's still got the arm. He stopped the abuse on himself, so he keeps all the bullets in his chamber now.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah,
But yes,
he's-
I'm picking the Steelers, so that's nice to hear from me. I'm not. Don't think you guys are going to lose this week, even though I do pound the Browns drum pretty heavily every week. I think this is a week that they're going to lose. It doesn't matter if Baker's playing or not. Baker playing is would be terrible for them. It's just risking another huge injury. TJ Watt's going to get to him. It's going to happen at some point. There's not going to be a time that he's not going to get to the quarterback. Why let that 6'6" monster, however tall he is, hit your quarterback who's already suffered a pretty significant injury that you had to talk him out of playing last weekend, right? And in a much more winnable game, I think, last week too. So, yeah, Steelers. There you go, buddy.
Hey, I appreciate it. It seems like we're all showing love to each other. So let's, I mean, I think it's going to be 187 if Baker decides to play. Come on, go figure out your labrum, bro.
Yeah, right.
But probably flying under the radar a little bit would be this Bucks and Saints game. I think maybe, and like Chad's a Bucks fan, obviously we know that. But this is probably this game is probably flying under the radar the most. Do the Saints have anything in them to put them over and try and steal one from the Bucks here? They need it. I mean, to stay in any kind of hope for a division. I mean, at this point they're playing for wild card, but like, is there any hope here that this could be figured out?
No.
Jameis
Not
can't
at
get
all.
any revenge on his boys.
No. They beat us up last year, and that was Taysom Hill. It was not Jameis. I don't think Jameis is going to get the job done. I just don't think they have the weapons there to keep up. I think if Michael Thomas could play and was at full speed, maybe we could have this conversation.
Yep.
But outside of Alvin Kamara, I just don't think there's anybody on that Saints offense that threatens anybody. And the one thing that the Bucks can do is score on every single team in the league. I know AB's there. I think they said he's out still, but that doesn't matter. Like, he's not our guy. He's not our number one target. We don't have.
He's more of an X factor to, like, he puts you over the top, right? He makes your other guys unguardable.
Well, because you can't double team all of them.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to. So whoever has the best matchup that week is who's going to eat. It doesn't make or break the game. With Gronk in there, same thing. I don't think Gronk makes or breaks the game. I think Cameron Britt and OJ Howard are actually more athletically talented than Gronk. It's just that Gronk and Brady have a special chemistry, which is amazing. And it's going to be great down the stretch, but not needed, especially in a game against New Orleans. A bunch of slapdicks down there in the South.
Jeez.
Wow.
Well, when Kalen's finished here, I want you to tell me how you really feel about that team.
I mean, it's going to be division games. I love watching these ones. Jameis, I'm sure, is going to get kind of picked on by the defense of Tampa Bay. They made that trade there for the running back today. I think that was more of a, let's get this guy as the rushing title record in New Orleans for a cheap price more than anything, because it's not as if he's bringing anything to the package. Just you're looking up at how do we beat the Bucks? That's how do we win in this division and how do we beat the Bucks? Mark Ingram isn't what's going to be the answer for you. Don't run against the Bucks. That's certainly not the answer, right? So, Bucks, I think, got this game again. Honestly, man, fuck, you guys aren't going to lose a game the rest of the season, maybe. Honestly.
Oh, don't you bring that hex on me? Don't you?
He just cucked you.
Man,
don't you give me that voodoo?
I was looking at your schedule the other day. It is ridiculous how easy you guys have the remainder of the year. You've gone through the tough part of your schedule. There's like nothing left in it that's different. Yeah. Have you looked at your schedule for the rest of the year?
The NFC sucks.
I don't need to. The NFC's it's not just the Saints. Outside of the Rams, Packers, and Cowboys, it is a full slapdick conference.
Yeah, it's brutal, man. And Titans got a pretty easy schedule too, so that'll be nice.
Yeah, you guys got your heavy lifting done out of the way right away. I mean, unfortunately, the Steelers didn't do that, but we got about 2 minutes here. Go ahead.
The only tough team you guys got for the rest of the year, I want to make sure I had this right, is the Bills. I mean, if you want to consider the Panthers, you guys have basically off the Panthers the last 3 weeks now at this point, so you guys are done on them.
Yeah, Sanders sucks.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like you're too high on the Saints making any kind of noise this year. So if you're not calling those guys good, then or tough games, the only time the tough game is up to the Bills. You guys are not gonna lose a game the rest of the year. Honestly, you might just throw one away to have fun with it. That might be it.
Oh, you just ruined it. If we don't win this one without Kalen, I'm kicking you in the penis.
Yo, Tom Brady's gonna get his fucking arm ripped off against the Saints, and then you're gonna have to give it to Kalen on Monday. Well, we got about 2 minutes here, so there's 3 guys that are injured, and I'm gonna ask you which one of them is going to be a bigger impact to the team. AB, a potential Baker Mayfield not being in the game, and we already know Devontae Adams isn't playing. So whose team is most affected by that guy not being in? And keeping in mind, like, the Baker thing's not official yet. Like, who knows?
If Baker doesn't play, it's obviously has to be Baker Mayfield. At the end of the day, he's our captain. He's our quarterback. He's our leader. He's the spirit of that team. Yes, they run the ball, and that's what they do, and they're really good at it. But he is their Energizer Bunny. He's what keeps them going. And I don't care what team you are and what you do, your starting quarterback's the most important person on your team. Devontae Adams is an MVP-type player. Yes, I get that. But the quarterback touches the ball every single play. He is the most important piece of that whole puzzle. And if you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to win. It's that simple.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
For me, I got to take Adams. I think that we talked about earlier, the Arizona secondary, Byron Murphy, Robert Alford are playing amazing. Isaiah Simmons is playing great as a cover backer, as like a money back, whatever you want to call him there. And you got Budda Baker. There's just too much in that secondary to be going against, like I said earlier, 4th, 5th, and 6th string receivers. I get Aaron Rodgers is going to make everybody look good, but Devonta Adams is a different beast that can get open against damn near every single player. Doesn't matter if he's double teamed or triple teamed. And you need that player on 3rd downs. You're going to miss that player tonight, unfortunately. Tonyan's going to be called upon a lot, I think. But Devonta Adams is a significant loss going against that type of defense that Arizona has to bring up against you.
Green Bay can win without Devonta Adams. They can. They've done it numerous times. They're 6-0 without him. So that's why I don't think he's the most important loss.
Yeah, and to me, like I'm just gonna, like not necessarily just because you guys picked these guys, but
I'm telling you, I think that the Antonio Brown loss takes a team that is really, really good and almost unbeatable with, and makes them just a great team. Which, like, yeah, you'll take that any day, but they're a far more beatable team without AB because you can scheme your defense a little bit differently against the two big guys on the outside. And I think that you'd be comfortable leaving a guy like Cameron Brate open across the middle because he's not house calling you. If you leave Antonio Brown open or he gets some kind of zone coverage, that guy's taking it to the house.
Can I say one thing before we go?
I don't see why not.
Arizona wore their blackout uniforms and they look awesome, but they look so Mickey Mouse with their fucking white helmets.
Yeah, I'm
Why
over
the
white
fuck
helmets.
why wouldn't you put a black helmet on that? Like,
Well-
do you know how fucking disgustingly sexy that would be if they went all black helmet, and then you put a fucking you look like a fucking Pop Warner team on a white helmet out there, you fucking idiots.
Well, you can thank your friend the NFL for that because it wasn't until next year's when they finally can start farting around with having dual helmets. You can only have one helmet throughout the year.
I already told you I don't even watch football. Don't call it my NFL.
So next year we'll be able to have some of those throwback helmets and have some like the Thursday nights are supposed to be the throwback nights potentially now. So that'd be really cool to see some of those new helmets coming back out again.
All right, you got
Still
any
like
final
this
thoughts
black.
before we send this thing into the home run town?
No. Final thoughts. A great game. Thursday night kicking the weekend off. I know it's only Thursday, but we'll call it the weekend anyway. The game like tonight.
No, I mean, final thoughts is the Braves are winning the World Series, and
Oh.
we'll check out for a couple of pretty good games this weekend. Obviously, Paul Bunyan Trophy staying in Michigan State. Ben Roethlisberger's getting his last career start in First Energy Stadium. Takes the win on that, and might as well go ahead and subscribe to that YouTube. Check out the Twitch channel because we're gonna have somebody that's actually willing to play on it, not Kalen, who just talks about playing on it. We got the Instagram and Facebook. Go check that out. Make sure you're liking it. Make sure you're sharing it. We got some pretty big things that we're going to launch maybe next week or the week after. We'll keep you updated on that. And like I said, if anybody wants to challenge Kalen on Madden, get after it, and he will play you. But he is pretty good, so make sure that you bring your A game. Yeah. Anyway, boys, let's cheers this thing out.
Yeah.
Let's go win some money from Coolbet.